TG Geeks, episode 285, August 3rd, 2020. Aces high, Jokers wild. Hello and welcome to another webcast from tggeeks.com, where Ben and Keith, the Two Gay Geeks, talk about all aspects of geekdom and nerdery, sci-fi, comics, film, horror, genre. You name it, we talk about it. I'm Keith Lane, and we're coming to you from TG Squared Studios in lovely, hotter than heck, Phoenix, Arizona.
And I'm Ben Raggington, coming to you from the Sahara.
Yes.
Feels like it, but yeah.
We had 118 the other day.
118, and then that was followed by 116, which was also the hottest day for that day of the year.
Yikes. All right. Let's get on with it to something cool.
Prepare for hyperdrive.
Meanwhile, in the Hall of Episodes, the Two Gay Geeks are discussing this.
Well, this episode we have got an author team, and they're Olivia Wiley and Nonir of Aces High, Jokers Wild, which is a queer cyberpunk series. And we talked to them about how they came to do that and all about them. So then we have our birthday shout-outs. As always, we have some really interesting ones this time. And our podcast of the week, our feedback segment, which seems to be a favorite, and a few shout-outs. And in our second segment, we're going to talk about a few things, just a brief mention of things that we are watching currently, and then our weekly recap and a regular shout-out. So we're going to get right on with it then. And we welcome to the microphone this time two folks who are writers. We have Olivia Wiley. She is jack of all trades, master of none. That's what it was. And Nonir Amasidia, the other half of the OE Tearmann team. And they like to refer to themselves as two authors in a trench coat. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having us on.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So tell us who wants to go first, and then I'll go down my little
Rochambeau for it.
Exactly.
I guess I'll go first.
Okay. So
Liv does more of these than I do.
Sure. So tell us who you are and how you got into writing and what it is that you're doing currently. Just kind of in your elevator pitch as if you were going to the top of the Empire State Building. Not the one that's a really tall tower, but just the Empire State Building. You know, that kind of mini bio.
Longer than a normal elevator ride, so I'll take it. My name's Nonir Amasidia, and I do a lot of things. I run Wandering Jotun Crafts, which is resources, artwork, and spiritual support for marginalized communities.
Oh, cool.
I write as one half of OE Tearmann, and I also write as ES Argentum, which is all queer romance and erotica set in fantasy and sci-fi worlds. I got into writing when I was 12,
oh, wow.
And I was really, really bored in French class. And like, I always feel bad telling this story. Like, I am so sorry to my previous French teacher. But I was super bored, and my friend and I were like passing notes on talking about our favorite books. And she kind of encouraged me to start writing my own story inspired by some of these. And I kind of started writing a mashup of Aragon, Lord of the Rings, and some Tamara Pierce books. With a little bit of Harry Potter thrown in. Like, it was a lot.
It's what you call a pastiche.
There you go.
Yeah. It was a very convoluted homage.
To several different genres.
I mean, they were all kind of fantasy, but it was definitely trying to mash a bunch of different styles because I didn't have my own voice yet.
Right.
And it was all kind of downhill from there, and here we are a long time later.
And a lot of books in.
Yeah, I don't want to tell you, how long ago it was that I was 12. So it's like in the before times,
Yeah, when dust was still settling on the earth.
Exactly. And Jesus was in short pants.
Oh my word!
Anyway, okay, enough of that. So, Olivia, do you want to tell us who you are and how you got started? And
Yeah, I'm Olivia Wiley. I still trip over my last name, despite how long I've been married. I am a jack of all trades, master of none, and I use that phrase because, like Nonir, I have interest in a lot of different areas. I'm a trained horticulturist, and I own a small residential gardening business. And in the winters and when it rains, I stay indoors, and under my own name, I write ethnobotany and illustrated books on ancient Irish poetry, mostly ancient Irish folklore, and really dig into the cultural details. Like, I have a book out on the OM, which is the Irish writing system, going deeper than that level of, mysterious Celtic stuff. And I'm like, no, this was a dyed-in-the-wool, we live in this world with all these trees around us. What do they mean to us?
right.
Kind of culture. More get past the mysticism and into the minds of the folks who lived there. So my background is in plants and academics and really trying to link spirituality to factuality. And I was raised with a weird dissonance between academic rigor, you have to do well in school, you have to do this, and a family culture of storytelling. And so I was raised with this very strong sense of the stories are meaningful, they will always connect us, but those are for family, and those are for tribe, and those are for keeping at home, and then you have to go out and prove yourself in the rest of the world, and they don't care about your stories. So I got through college, I was coming into my own as a young adult, and I met Nonir, and they kind of gave me the courage to start saying, but I like telling stories, and they don't just need to be books on my shelf at home that I read and things that I remember. I can do more with telling stories. And so I started opening up a little bit more as our friendship grew and telling stories a bit more. And together we were working on various projects, and all of a sudden I went, hey, we have something meaningful here. And I think it was that the academic, let's say success-driven capitalistic, you must do something with your work mindset that I'd grown up with, the nose to the grindstone mindset I'd grown up with that says, well, if you're putting time into it, you have to take it to the next level.
Uh-huh.
And so I started taking the ethnobotany I'd grown up with and turning it into books. I started taking some of the work that we had done and taking it to the next level with Nonir's help. And we got started tentatively on publishing the work we'd done together on a cyberpunk thing. And we said, okay, we really want to do this, but we don't want to deal with assholes, and we don't want to deal with jerks and with people who are going to give us a lot of grief for being a non-binary person and a cis woman writing cyberpunk. So let's use a pen name that is non-gendered.
Not just cyberpunk, but cyberpunk featuring queer characters and queer storylines.
Right.
Yes, supportive of queer characters and queer storylines. And so we decided we would go with, there's also a cachet against co-written books. So we said, let's dodge all of that and just use a pen name. So we both study the Irish language, and
that's how we met.
Yeah, that's how we met. We met in an Irish-speaking club.
Okay, cool.
And Tearmann is the word for a safe harbor, but it has cultural connotations of the place that will protect you. So that's why it's OE Tearmann. So yeah, it's so we've started really enjoying working on this story that is designed to support folks of different backgrounds and different identities, and show that you don't have to be a gun nut to be a hero. You don't have to be big and strong to be a hero. In fact, one of our main characters, who gets put in the position of the commander of a unit in a force trying to bring democracy back to America in 2155, he's kind of small. He's a trans guy. And he often is like, I can't do this. And then he goes and does it and goes, okay, maybe I can.
Well, those are the kinds of those are generally the best heroes. Those are the ones who are not seeking it, the ones who would rather have someone else do the lead, but because circumstances put them in that position, they have no choice but to take upon the mantle. That usually makes for the more interesting character, and it makes for a hero's journey.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and that's very much how Aiden starts his journey. Aiden Headley is in book one. Not long before book one starts, he was in a very dangerous situation where the commander of the base he was on got killed. The personnel officer, second in command, did something really stupid and that was going to get everybody killed on the base. And Aiden was like, no, that's crap. We're doing this. Everybody do the right thing. And I want to protect everybody. Not because he wanted to be a hero, but he's looking around going, I don't want these people to die, and you're an idiot. Mm-hmm. And the next thing he knew, he was being told, hey, we're putting you in command training. And his reaction was, what? No.
The reluctant hero.
Well, like I said, those make the best and most interesting characters.
So how, I believe in your email you told me that it was I can't remember the exact wording, but I want to say unabashedly queer cyberpunk. So what is this story? Tell us what kind of the arc of the story is. Where is it going? What is it? What's it doing to help our audience understand and wish to read this book?
Yeah, the Be Kind Rewind section that we should have done earlier.
That's all right.
So the Aces High Jokers Wild series, book 4 is coming out.
Just came out. Book 5 is coming out.
I can never keep track. There's so many.
I know.
So book 4 just came out, and it is set 100 years-ish in the future, where America has kind of been taken over by big corporations instead of government. Our joke that we meant this as a warning, not as a premonition.
Yeah.
Not as a suggestion.
Oops.
And the story itself follows this group of rebels called the Wild Cards. They're a base in the force that's fighting to bring democracy back. And the unabashedly queer part is the entire base is very, very diverse. When we were writing it, we really wanted to try and accurately depict kind of the diversity that we see in our everyday life, and try to put people on the page who don't always get on the page. So, for example, Aiden, who we were talking about earlier, is one of the protagonists, he's a trans guy who suffers from anxiety and depression. And spoilers for book 1, kind of, he falls in love with one of the other guys on the base, and they get together, and it's adorable. We also have a married lesbian couple, an ace character who gets introduced in book 3?
3.
Book 3. Lots of characters of color. Like, we did a lot of trying to make it as diverse as possible to be realistic, but also, show people that anyone can be an important part of whatever's important to you.
I really need to applaud the fact that your lead character, in addition to being transgendered, also suffers from mental health issues. That is something which has continued to be a big social bugaboo. And, I've got my own, my head's full of my head's a bag of cats. I mean, I'm really clinically nuts. And to know that there are more characters that are being written that deal with anxiety, depression, PTSD, be whatever you want to call it, the fact that they're being represented in literature, I think, is such a great help for so many people that are out there that are trying to, get a grip on their own situation. And when they can see that kind of representation, not just in terms of, someone who's a member of the alphabet people like we are, but that are dealing with behavioral health issues at the same time, that they're being represented, and to see that they too can also overcome and find, succeed, find love, etc., I think is such a great thing. And I'm really grateful that you have done that in this.
Well, thank you. And it's been important for us because we're both coping with our own mental health stuff. And we wanted to portray that on the page, but not just portray it, because I'm going to get a little crass here, but you see mental health porn in a fair number of books, like, oh, I'm suffering. No, we want to portray people with mental health coping and being supported. Absolutely. One of the big things in book 2 is that one of the characters isn't coping all that well, and he gets taken aside by 2 different people and told, no, you're getting help for this now. Right. And one of our characters is a young neurodivergent girl, and essentially she was not supported as a young person, and she's genetically modified, so she's producing twice the amount of adrenaline a human body should be. Ooh. And she's got some, let's be loose about it and call them wiring issues. Mm-hmm. And everybody on the base is like, okay, if she freaks out, she might punch you. But on the other hand, she's freaking out. So, Tweak, you have to fix this. You have to work on it. You have to get your medication taken. You have to do this. But we are supporting you. That doesn't mean you're off the hook. It doesn't mean we say, oh, yeah, she does that. We say, Tweak, you're acting up right now. Do your breathing exercises. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Take a minute. Yeah, basically, showing that support of you don't get put aside because you have mental health problems. You get supported, and sometimes that support means, honey, get it together. Yep. Yeah. I'm here for it, but get it together.
Take your meds, take a deep breath, have a glass of water, and then
walk away from social media.
Exactly.
My husband had to tell me that because I was completely tweaking out about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and he set me aside and says, "Okay, honey, you realize everybody's getting worried about you. You need to step away from this." And I'm, okay, thank you.
And it's fun writing Tweak because she's totally like that. She'll start freaking out, and then somebody will say, breathing exercise from her base, and she'll be like, oh, yeah, okay. And one of the things we've shown is, like, we write technology as very amoral. So there's terrible things that are done with technology, and then there's actually really cool stuff. So one of the things is that there are now these holographic psychological wellness coach programs. Basically,
oh, please write
AI.
that program.
Yeah.
It's basically a psychologist you can turn on after work every day.
And you don't have to pay for.
Oh,
Yes.
I like that part even better.
Please write that program.
We need that algorithm.
Yes. Well, and it's very fun because Aiden's. It's also a way to show that support because Aiden's best friend originally wrote the program for him, and then he strips his copy of. He makes a copy of his program, strips it of all his personal stuff, and gives it to Tweak, and is like, start using this until you're ready to talk to people. It'll help. Because we don't want to ask your secrets. We don't want to out you, but you need to work on your shit. You need to work on your problems.
Right.
Interesting.
So
okay.
Start using this program, and then when you're ready to talk to people about problems, start talking to us.
Well, that's really cool.
That's really cool, and I'm glad you kind of went into that direction because this now begs something that I was kind of buzzing in the back of my head. This was described as a cyberpunk story with queer characters. So for our audience and for us as well, how is this? Describe the whole cyberpunk nature of this universe and this story that's happening.
Oh gosh.
Did I ask the wrong question?
No, I'm just laughing.
Tirade.
Sorry, go ahead.
Prepare for a tirade. Liv gets really, really excited about the tech.
Well,
So,
I guess kind of
before I go into the tirade, just a bit of background. Nonir is really the one who designs the interpersonal stuff between our characters. They are the interpersonal master. I am the rabbit hole girl. I go, and this is what we can do with that, and this is what we can do with that. And Nonir has to kind of tap me on the head and go, remember, we're writing people.
right.
So
Take this before you go rabbit holing.
yeah.
It's
I love
like
you.
it's like there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very much the techie type. So this is playing on the cyberpunk genre of high tech, low life, and it's playing on 7 corporations own everybody. The day you're born in the USA. By the way, a lot of other countries in the rest of the world are doing better than us in this story. Surprise! 7 corporations own what used to be the USA. And the day you're born, your parents have to sign an indenture paper. It's called your citizen contract that signs you up for all the services that they can't pay out of pocket. But that means they are signing up to indoctrinate and inculcate you to the rules of the corporation that they are indentured to. And so we base this off of stuff from the Gilded Age here in America, where basically cradle to grave, one company could own its people. And that was really useful for them because they could set the prices and wages on everything to their advantage. And we let the moral paternalism and laissez-faire economy of that time period play out with tomorrow's technology. So some companies are completely laissez-faire. If you can pay for it, you can have it. Other companies, like the agricultural company, has all these rules about who can marry who and who can rise to a certain position in their church. Every company has its own rules, but the only overarching rule is you break your company's rules, you are dropped in what's called the citizen standing, which is a number that everyone is assigned through a complicated system. Kind of think of our credit score, but then add a morality score to that, that your company decides.
Yay.
Okay.
Yeah. So in that world, there are people off the system, outside the system, under and around the system, and they call themselves the Democratic State Force. Everyone else calls them the Dusters because they live out in land that no one wants, They're always running, they're always hiding, but they're fighting to bring representative democracy back to America. And so that's how it's cyberpunk. But we're actually designing this series to evolve from cyberpunk up into solarpunk. So each book shows things getting incrementally a little bit better, a little bit closer to that goal. Because this started as an idea in 2016 when everything hit the fan. And a lot of our friends, a lot of our circle got really nihilistic. And I am by nature an optimist. That may be an understatement.
Not.
But I'm a fierce optimist. So Nonir needed to blow off some steam, and I was really frustrated with the nihilism I was seeing. So we said, okay, fine. Let's say we are screwed. Let's take this to the darkest place we can imagine America going to, barring a nuclear war, because both of us kind of feel like post-apocalyptic nuclear wasteland is lazy writing. Then it's just like, don't die. Mm-hmm. It's actually harder to fight a system that's still entrenched than it is to just live in a lawless land. The decisions are harder because it's not a decision between live and die today. It's a decision between, well, I could stand up to that guard who's saying that this person can't have water rations and I could get arrested. Or I could keep quiet, feel like crap, and be able to bring the entire water allocation system down with a bug in 3 weeks. So how do I make this decision?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Interesting. I will say that now I've got to add something else to my reading list. Dadgummit. My reading list explodeth. With that, wow. Okay. I'm intrigued. I'm highly intrigued with this because I think the universe is exciting. I like the fact that you're setting up a universe that is evolving and trying to grow into something better. I think you've got some fascinating characters and situations that they are in. And I would love to talk to you more about that, but unfortunately we're against the red line in terms of time. So
I guess we'll have to have us back on later.
We might have to. We just might have to. So with all of that, where can people learn more about each of you, and where can they learn more about this particular product that you were just telling us about? Who wants to start?
Well, for this series, we have a Facebook and Twitter account under Aces High Jokers Wild. The Twitter is OE Tearmann, Tearmann. And you can also
find the @ on Twitter. So
yeah. Right.
You can also find the series on Amazon, pretty much anywhere you buy books.
And on our publisher's website at Amphibian Press. And we also have a website, aceshighjokerswild.com. And you can read free chapters of the books on there. We also have resources in the back of each book for folks who are needing resources, like the Trevor Lifeline is in the back of there. I'm sorry if I used the wrong terms. A lot of resources for places in the real world to get help. So you finish the book and then you go to the back of the book and it says, hey, in your world, there are all these resources if you need to get help.
Cool.
And there's also a playlist because one of the characters is an 80s rock fan. And so each book has a playlist that's really cheesy and funny.
Olivia, honey, where can they find you?
Oh, right. So my work is on Etsy at Leafing Out. I'm on Amazon under my own name, Olivia Wylie, Wylie. And like Nonir said, all the Aces High Jokers Wild stuff is out there. For my ethnobotany work, I'm under Leafing Out Professional Gardening on Facebook, www.leafingoutgardening.com. And same thing pretty much everywhere. So I do card games about the Victorian language of flowers. I do an OM deck set.
Cut you off because we don't have time.
Yeah, sorry. Your turn.
You can find me at Wandering Jotun, Jotun on Twitter, on Facebook. You can also find me wanderingjotun.com and ES Argentum on Facebook, ARGENTUM, or argentumbooks.weebly.com. And you can find those stories as ebooks pretty much anywhere as well.
Well, this has been really great. We will definitely have to have you back on individually and together. So thank you so much for being on our show this time.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. This was fun.
Yeah, it was lovely. Take care.
Hi, this is Chuck Tomasi from the Technorama Podcast and author of Podcasting for Dummies, and you're listening to the Two Gay Geeks.
Well, that was a fascinating chat with those two folks. So we're going to have to. They sent me a copy of one of their books.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, so
need to take a look at that.
I just realized that as I was looking through emails. It's like, oh dear, I missed that.
Whoops.
I have to load that onto my iPad and take a look at that. So here are a few selected birthdays for August 3rd, 2020 through August 9th, 2020. August 3rd, Martha Stewart.
Who's Martha Stewart?
She writes picture books about gracious living.
Oh, very good. I was hoping you'd get that right.
Martha says, nothing else matters if you can do a nice dried floral arrangement. I adore her. Yes.
Jeffrey.
Yes. She actually babysat for the children of Mickey Mantle and Yogi Berra.
No kidding.
Yeah. And one of her quotes is, so the pie isn't perfect. Cut it into wedges. Stay in control and never panic.
Oh, yeah? That sounds like something also Julia Child would say.
Exactly. Next we have Tony Bennett. Tony Bennett, singer. Oh my gosh.
Still going.
Still going strong.
At what age?
He's 90 something. Yeah. 92, 90.
And he still sounds great.
Yes, he does. He actually, at age 88, his duet album with Lady Gaga.
Oh, it's so good.
Debuted at number 1 in 2014.
Have you heard any of it?
Oh, yes. Oh, my gosh.
It's amazing.
Just incredible. Yes, yes. And he actually was in a movie, a god-awful movie, The Oscar.
Oh, my. I've forgotten he was in that.
Yes, he was.
That is such a bad movie.
Oh, my gosh. It's horrible. Anyway, then we have Martin Sheen, an actor. Oh, my gosh, what a career. He has just done a little bit of everything, you know? I mean, Grace and Frankie is the most recent thing.
Which shows he's a really good comedic actor.
Exactly. And he's been married to his wife, Janet, since 1961.
Wow, that's just awesome.
That's just amazing. And was considered for the part of Sloane on DS9.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been interesting because he was a far more... I mean, back then, he was a much more serious, and he could take on dark roles then.
Yeah.
That would have been fascinating.
Yeah. And he has been arrested more than 70 times.
Oh, he's always out there protesting for the great causes.
Liberal protests. Very, very community LGBTQ friendly and... activists.
Well, I think that's why
all kinds of different things.
He was so anxious to take on the role of the president in the TV series The West Wing, because it fell right within his wheelhouse in terms of values.
Yes. August the 4th, Helen Thomas. She was a journalist. She was the grande dame of the White House press corps for many, many years.
I think I remember her.
She was with United Press and later UPI, which became UPI, for 57 years.
She was like always in the front row.
Front row.
Yeah.
Covered Kennedy to the second term of Obama. Her seat was in the front row, and on her 89th birthday, Obama had cupcakes made, and they sang happy birthday to her. But just before the press briefing that he was going to do that day.
No, nice.
And she died at the age of 92.
Wow. What a legacy.
Her history is incredible, too.
And speaking of Barack Obama.
Barack Obama is his birthday, president number 44. What else do you say? Louis Armstrong, trumpet player, referred to as Satchmo.
Right.
He was named after the airport in New Orleans. Or the airport in New Orleans was named after him. There we go.
I'm like, whoa. Wow. He was named after an airport.
We have an airport.
What?
Yeah. He was born and raised in New Orleans and then, moved around, went to Chicago and then to New York and other places as his career burgeoned. Then we have, and this is sad.
Yeah.
Robert Bob Tanzer.
This guy was so amazing.
He was.
Yeah, we loved him.
What a mensch.
He was. He really was. I mean,
truly was.
The man had one heck of a career in his life.
He certainly did, and just a wonderful human being.
Yeah, he was very friendly with us. He was an amazing patron of the arts. He and his wife both.
Unfortunately, he died just recently.
Yeah.
He will be missed at Arizona Opera as well as the rest of the art scene here in Arizona.
Yeah, once the great pause is lifted and we're back to attending, private opera functions, his presence or the lack thereof will be very noticed.
Absolutely. August 5th, Neil Armstrong, astronaut, first foot on the moon. I met him.
Yeah, you did.
At the Muskogee Public Library in this tiny little conference room thing. There must have been 60 people crammed in a space for 25. And Bill Hensley was along with me. I had an autographed photo of him for the longest time, and it got lost along the way. Then we have Joan Hickson, actress, Miss Marple, the definitive.
Miss Marple.
Yes. She was asked by Agatha Christie herself to play Miss Marple, and she took on the role well after she had retired from acting.
And she even became head of, I think it was the Agatha Christie Society for a time?
Along with,
the actor who
David
plays...
Suchet.
Yeah.
Together until her death, anyway. Then we have Selma Diamond, actress. She was the bailiff on Night Court. Who sadly died of lung cancer.
She was really a heavy smoker.
Oh my God, she was a chain smoker.
Yeah,
for sure. And sadly, in a sad, ironic twist, the lady that replaced her also died of lung cancer after
from also being a heavy smoker. Yeah,
exactly. And then we have Facebook friends Sarah Snow Scott and a former coworker, Bev Labonte. Happy birthday, Bev. August the 6th, Piers Anthony. Oh, my Lord.
How much did he write?
Sci-fi. He has, the list is huge. He has a long-running series, Xanth.
Oh, yes.
47 books in that series.
Yes.
And he came to my attention with the Apprentice Adept series. And I just discovered that there was a book before the book that I started with. The Blue Adept is the one that I started with, but there was another one prior to that. I didn't know that there was. So.
I had been following his Xanth series. I'm nowhere near finished with it. I've only read 3 of them, but wow, what a universe!
Yeah, he says. He stated that one of his greatest achievements has been to publish a book beginning with every letter of the alphabet.
Well, with all that he's written, I'm sure he accomplished that.
Exactly. And he actually lives on a tree farm in Florida.
Really?
Yeah. So that's interesting. Then we have, Andy Warhol, artist, media icon. He did drawings for some of Truman Capote's books and also for Amy Vanderbilt's book on etiquette. He started out that way. And
he was also a filmmaker, too, of all things.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. A lot of...
Very avant-garde art.
Well, yes. Considering that one of his short films is about it's just the face of somebody during... sexual excitement, shall we say?
Well, I'm sure. I'd heard that he did a movie about teeth, and that it was 32 hours long.
Oh, Jesus!
1 hour for each tooth, and then at one point, the screen split into 32 segments to highlight each tooth. But there's one movie that he did that I really want to see, only because it was such hot news when it came out. He did a version of Frankenstein in 3D that was rated X.
Oh, dear Lord.
I really want to see it, now more out of just bizarre curiosity.
Right. Well, he's been called the father of pop art. And
yeah, I believe it.
He wore a wig most of the time when he went out.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. And then we have Louis Leakey.
Wait a minute.
What? Where am I? No, sorry. Michelle Yeoh. Sorry, that's the next day. I'm too far in my script. Michelle Yeoh, actress, Crouching Tiger, Discovery, has 10 projects currently in the works.
Wow, busy lady.
Yes. And she is one of only a few females that Jackie Chan will let do their own stunts.
Well, she's got the talent.
Yep. She was born in Malaysia. She speaks English, Malay, and Cantonese. So,
I remember reading or seeing an interview with her when she did Crouching Tiger. She had difficult time with the Chinese.
Right, because it was in Mandarin,
right.
And she had to use the pinyin and the Mandarin crew helped her understand the difference between Mandarin and Cantonese.
It was also an older dialect, too,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken. So there was that bridge that she had to cross.
Yeah, because Mandarin only has 4 tones and Cantonese has 7 tones.
Oh, my.
So even though it, like, ni hao ma is hello,
Yeah.
it's ne ho ma.
Oh, my goodness.
In
Cantonese?
In Cantonese.
Wow.
So things are pronounced just a little bit different. So August the 7th, Carl Switzer, actor, Alfalfa from Our Gang.
Ah.
Although he always sang off-key, he was actually a very skilled singer. And had a very troubled life. He died at the age of 31.
Had a tragic ending.
Yes, it was shot over $50.
Yeah. And I think we've seen where he was interned over at the Forever Cemetery in Hollywood.
Yep. And the picture that the Haynes sisters show, or the Vera Ellen in White Christmas.
It's him.
It's him. It's a picture of him. Yes. And then we have Louis Leakey, paleoanthropologist and archaeologist. His discoveries at Olduvai Gorge cemented that humans evolved in Africa, and he fostered a field of researching primates to better understand the evolution of primates to hominid human beings. And one of his people that he encouraged, several PhD candidates, one was Jane Goodall.
Of course.
Yes. And then we have Facebook friend Jeff Nicholas.
He's a great friend. I like him a lot.
Yep. And then August the 8th, Paul Dirac, physicist, fundamental contributions to early quantum mechanics and quantum electrodynamics.
Wow.
He predicted the existence of antimatter. And he shared the 1933 Nobel Prize with Erwin Schrödinger. Did they win or didn't they win?
Yes.
And then we have Roger Penrose, another mathematical physicist. Contributions to general relativity and cosmology. Worked with Stephen Hawking on the Penrose-Hawking singularity theorem.
Right.
And then we have Robin Quivers.
I love her.
Radio personality on the Howard Stern Show. She was in the Air Force. And
yes, she was. She was a nurse.
Was a nurse. She
was a commissioned officer.
Yes. Yep. And then we have Terry Nation, writer, scriptwriter, screenwriter. He actually, he inventor of the Daleks. He wrote for the Avengers and Blake 7, as well as Doctor Who.
Right.
And
I didn't know he did Avengers, but that doesn't surprise me.
And wrote for MacGyver.
Oh, now that I didn't know.
Yeah, interesting little thing there. And then we have a friend of ours, Kelly Parker. August the 9th. Is that where we are?
Yes,
We're
we are.
on August the 9th. P.L. Travers, writer, wrote Mary Poppins, disliked Disney's version so much that she refused to let Disney touch any more of her work until after she died. And then her estate allowed them to do something. And also Saving Mr. Banks is kind of her story.
Yeah, it's based on that the negotiation to make to have Mary Poppins the movie actually made.
Exactly. And then Gillian Anderson, X-Files actress. She was awarded an honorary OBE in Order of British Empire in 2016. Interesting. Kevin McKidd, actor. He was in Trainspotting, Star Wars Rebels, and Brave as Lord MacGuffin and Young MacGuffin.
Yeah, but we're forgetting one series that we loved a lot, and that was Journeyman.
Journeyman?
Yes, about the guy who was time traveling. It was an NBC series that lasted one season. It was on our time when we were on Slice of Sci-Fi.
You must have watched that with
No. You watched it with me because you loved it. You were just as upset as I was that the series got canceled. It just never caught on, but it was a brilliant show, and it was about a man who just started to spontaneously time travel.
Interesting.
It was a fantastic series.
I have no recollection of that whatsoever.
And it even pulled in the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory as part of its story towards the end of its first season run.
Interesting. Well, another interesting thing about him, he worked at the Macallan Distillery when he was 17.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Of course, a good Scotsman like him.
And he grew up in Upper Scotland.
Oh, this tiny village with his grandfather.
And in Brave, he used a variation of the Doric dialect, which his grandfather spoke. And it's unrecognizable as even being English.
If I read, if you can find the translation to what the son says,
Young MacGuffin
says, you can find it on Wikipedia. And
that's a MacGuffin.
Yeah, if you read the text as it's being spoken in the film, you can actually make the correlation. But that's the only way, because then I tried to watch it again without it, and I'm like, okay, I'm lost.
Yep. And then we have a friend of ours, or a friend of mine, that I grew up just 5 houses down from in junior high or grade school and junior high, Joyce Evans Palmer. Happy birthday, Joyce. And that's it for the birthdays this time.
Hi, this is Holly. You're tuned in to Krypton Radio. It's sci-fi for your Wi-Fi.
Go over to KryptonRadio.com and check out their offerings. They're a 24-hour geeky internet radio station where we can be found on Tuesdays at 3 a.m. and 3 p.m. Pacific time. Mm-hmm. And Gene Turnbow is the station manager, so check it out.
I'm Daniel Radcliffe, and I believe that reaching out for help is the bravest thing a person can do. If you are struggling and need support, call the Trevor Lifeline at 1-866-488-7386. It's free and confidential, and trained counselors are there to listen 24/7 without judgment. To learn more about the Trevor Project's life-saving work for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or questioning young people, go to thetrevorproject.org.
Well, it's feedback time. Got some interesting things here. Starting off with, I should point out that each of these articles that I'm going to be reading the feedback from will appear in the show notes for this episode at tggeeks.com. Starting with, regarding TG Geeks episode number 283, got a comment from the very person we interviewed in that episode, Jeff Baker. And he says, the Two Gay Geeks did me the kindness of interviewing me, in other words, letting me ramble, for their podcast, which goes online today, / my birthday, by the way. Thanks for the podcast. Thanks for promoting the Suicide Promotion Hotline. My husband Daryl saw Robin Williams on stage at Comedy Day in San Francisco about 20 years ago. Totally unexpected. Wonderful. Thanks to Ben Raggington and Keith Lane.
Yay.
And then
Thanks for being on our show.
Oh, hey. Well, yeah, we loved it. Have to have you on again when you get that your next book published. Then we got a comment from Arkle. He says, maybe I should launch a side project called Nameless Cash Grab just to really mess with Ben's head. Ha, ha, ha. Just kidding. That would just be mean. For what it's worth,
That's
Arkle.
okay. You can be mean, Arkle.
For what it's worth, I read what's on the script. So
No, you don't always read it correctly.
Well, if I'm going too fast, admittedly, if I'm reading too fast, I will get the words wrong. But generally, I read what Keith has written, so there. And then we got a comment from Stephanie Weipert, and she says, if you don't do podcasts, the most awesome TG Squared Studios put their podcast on YouTube for you. Come listen to my two favorite geeky podcasters. Yes, they're that good. Well, thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Then we got a comment. This is regarding Ben's
breakdown.
Yeah, Ben's gay breakdown. Strong women and gay men make up the old guard.
Oh, my gosh.
In that review, I wrote something, and I'm going to read it here. This is a quote from the movie. There is a soldier who they've taken prisoner these two immortals, Joe and Nathan, and they kind of have this thing going on. And the soldier asks Joe, "What? Is he your boyfriend?" Joe says, "You are a child, an infant. Your mocking is thus infantile. He's not my boyfriend. The man is more to me than you can dream. He's the moon when I'm lost in darkness, and warmth when I shiver in cold. And his kiss still thrills me even after millennia. His heart overflows with the kindness of which this world is not worthy. I love this man beyond measure and reason. He's not my boyfriend. He's all and he's more." Trying to get through that without getting all teary-eyed is impossible.
I couldn't do it last time either.
I know. I was getting all broken up. Well, we got a comment from Aishwarya Singh on Instagram, and she simply wrote, "I'm still not over that dialogue." Hey, neither am I. And then lastly, this is regarding Ben's breakdown. The absence of presence shows the greatness of Kansas. And I'm talking about Kansas, the prog rock group, because they have just released a new album. And we got a comment from Tom Brislin, the keyboardist and lyricist for that album. And he left this for me on Instagram. He simply says, "Thanks for the review." And I just want to add, and I'm being very, very self-serving here. I write most of the reviews for our website. However, that review, I have particularly great pride in. It's a great review. I would recommend, if you're a fan of music, take a look at that review. Thank you.
You can leave a comment on our Facebook page or our tggeeks.com. Gosh, I lost my train of thought here. You can even comment on our YouTube episodes or on Twitter and Instagram, wherever you find us, and there's a comment place. You can also call our listener feedback line. It's getting dusty and moldy. You can call us and leave us a message, and we'll play that on air, and you can be famous too. Call 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357. And as always, please play nice. Well, as everybody knows, we're huge supporters of independent creators, filmmakers, comic book artists, writers, or others. Please look up their websites, their Etsy pages, their Facebook pages. Chat with them. Chat with other people about them. Buy their stuff. Please support independent creators. The Joshua Tree Feeding Program is a 501c3 nonprofit food pantry for the HIV and AIDS community in Maricopa and Pinal counties, and they could certainly use your help right now during this pandemic. You can go to jtfp.org, where you can give a monthly recurring gift or a single gift. Please support Joshua Tree. If you are trans or are questioning your gender identity, and if you are in crisis or are feeling isolated and need someone to talk to, or you know of someone in a similar situation, there is a special hotline just for you. The hotline is provided by translifeline.org and staffed by trained counselors who are transgender themselves. The hotline in the U.S. is 877-565-8860. In Canada, it is 877-330-6366. Or you can go to translifeline.org to learn about the important work they are doing. Please reach out for help. You are not alone.
Yeah, baby. They're like two gay geeks. They're together, you know. They're two gay guys and they're geeks. Is that okay?
as we'd like to do.
A real brief discussion on what we're
rewatching.
We're watching right now. We're in our rewatch of Warehouse 13. Oh my gosh.
I love this series.
I do too.
It is so much fun.
It is, and lots of pop culture references.
Tons of pop culture.
And it is
such a blast.
It's really great.
And, I think what really makes this great is that it does the thing that I like most, and that is if you can really equally balance plot development with character development, you're going to have yourselves a great hit. And they do it.
And pop culture and history and a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Yeah, so it's really fun. Fascinating show. Check it out I think it's on Amazon Prime. Is that right?
No, it is with commercials, but yeah, you can watch it on Amazon Prime.
Yep. And then your rewatch and my first time watching Eureka.
This is another series I love.
Wow, what a crazy show!
This show is nuts. I love it, and for much of the same reasons. But this is more geek. I think.
Yeah, more geeky. Yeah,
but it's tons of fun. And Sheriff Carter he's us.
Yes.
He's the layman who's now in this town of geeky freaks. And he's so out of his element, and yet he's the one who saves the day almost every single time. Love this show.
And then we watched the first 3 episodes of Umbrella Academy.
Oh my
Season
God.
2. Oh my God. You're going to have
I'm going to have a review that we're going to run on Tuesday.
Tomorrow. So check it out.
Yeah. And here's a review of everything that we ran this past week on our website at tggeeks.com. And the links for each of these articles will be in the show notes for this episode at tggeeks.com, starting with Sunday, July 26th, Nerdy Chupacabras, issue number 6 from Tommy Cannon. On July 27th, TG Geeks episode number 284. On Tuesday, the 28th, Arizona Opera to produce reimagined 2020/2021 season starting in October. That's a very interesting article.
Yep, you should check it out.
Check that one out. This is what Arizona Opera has to do in order to adapt to the current situation. Then on Wednesday, July 29th, Pandemic feature film Hall has its world premiere at Fright Fest. Check this one out. The trailer has me kind of freaked out a bit. It's really good. And then on July 30th, which is a Thursday, celebrate 45 years of Jaws, plus American Psycho, Vampira, and UHF apparel at frightrags.com. And then on Friday, July 31st, Hamish Downey's 5 Questions with Jan Williams. And then on Saturday, August 1st...
We're still playing catch-up.
Yeah, we're still playing catch-up with this. This Got Made, hosted by Carlton Tetley, Episode 5, Vampirella, Forbidden Fruit. Oh, this one was funny.
Oh, my gosh.
Check it out. Have some shout-outs that we need to make. First to the Arkle Times Post-Dispatch News for republishing our content from time to time, and that is put out by the human Arkle, who we heard some feedback from earlier. That's Brian Weber. You can find the Post-Dispatch News by going to Twitter and finding him, Arkle. You can do that searching for Arkle at ARKLE. And you can also look for Arkle Studios on YouTube. Brian has a number of projects. His Shameless Cash Grab series.
And maybe nameless soon.
Well, only if he decides to call it that. His Rants vs. Zombies series and his game videos of Trick and Treat, as well as Star Trek Online. And we must also give some shout-outs to a couple of Facebook groups for allowing us to share away our content on their pages. First, Two Gay Geeks After Hours. We must give their moderators big thanks for giving us permission to share away there. And the URL is facebook.com/groups/Gay Geeks After Hours, all one word. And then to The Gay Geek for much the same. And the URL is facebook.com/groups/thegaygeek. And as always, we must give special thanks to their moderator, Jeremiah Reeves.
Thank you, Jeremiah. And lastly, we can be found on Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, as well as where other fine podcasts can be found. Also, check us out on Krypton Radio at 3 a.m. and 3 p.m. Pacific Time on Tuesdays. Listen to their other content, 24-hour geeky internet radio station. Please rate us and review us on iTunes. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, where you can listen to our episode on Mondays or anytime you wish. and surf the internet on your device. Well, that should do it for this episode of TG Geeks Webcast. Be sure to check out this article for the webcast episode. We're going to have all those links that Ben talked about. And remember, you can comment on our Facebook page or our website, tggeeks.com, or you can leave us a voicemail at 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357 from TG Squared Studios. I am Keith Lane. Thanks for listening. Please be kind to yourself and those around you. Stay home. Stay safe. Peace.
Cheers.